When you approach your goal setting with a feelings-based approach, it works. Approaching my goals with feelings has changed me. A feelings-based approach to goal setting has helped me change myself, my thoughts, and my life. Hi, this is your friend Lizzy, and welcome back to Lean In With Lizzy. Here we are approaching the end of the year. I know that many people have mixed emotions about New Year's and have especially mixed emotions about setting New Year's resolutions. As I talk to friends and read thoughts online, it seems like it's more the norm these days to not set goals at the beginning of the year. And perhaps there's a good reason why. Resolutions and goals can feel sticky, hard, and defeating, but they don't have to. Statistics around setting goals at New Year's are pretty dismal. Here's a few that surprised me. Only about 40% of Americans set New Year's resolutions. 23% abandoned their resolutions by the first week. The most common drop-off point is the second Friday in January, often called Quitter's Day, and only 9% report achieving their goal by year's end. Hearing these statistics, I get why so many have given up on goal setting. Today, we're going to flip the script. We're going to change the narrative around change and take back our ability to create a life that we love. Today, I've created a guided workshop to help you create the change you desire in your life. And the approach will be different than anything you've done before. To help you walk through this process, I've created a small workbook that you can find in the show notes. And the best part, you can do it in 4 intuitive steps. Before we start, I invite you to go through this process with a friend, not just because it's going to be a lot more fun, but also because sharing your goals makes you twice as likely to achieve them. Sharing this experience might be the best gift that you give them and yourself this year. Okay, are you ready to dive in? To start, I have a bit of a confession to make. I feel like I have to come clean and share that I'm not one of those people who hates goal setting. In fact, I love it. Now, that might not be super relatable, but there's something about a new year for me that embodies all of the magic of a fresh planner, a new favorite pen, or the smell of a spring morning. Opportunities for change and fresh starts are addictive to me, and I deeply believe in my core that every person has the capacity to change and create a life they love. This belief is the whole reason behind why I podcast. If I didn't actually believe you could change, why would I spend so much time sharing my setbacks, pitfalls, and wisdom from my life and my guests' lives about how to do it better? I believe in change. So now, knowing that about me, I also have to admit that in the last few years, I've come to be a little bit skeptical about the goal-setting process. I spent hours researching what makes goals stick and how not to be in the 91% who fail each year in setting resolutions for themselves. Along the way, I learned a new approach to change that I'm so excited to share with you. The foundation of this new way of goal setting is that instead of creating goals and habits around external measurements, a number in your bank account or on the scale, you create goals and habits around internal measurements, like how you want to think and how you want to feel. This feeling-based approach to goal setting is so much more effective in really changing who you are for a couple of reasons. First, research shows that people who tie resolutions to emotions, I want to feel confident in my body, for instance, are more likely to stick to lifestyle changes than those who are focused on numbers. I want to lose 10 pounds. Second, studies show that intrinsic goals are more motivating and satisfying, leading to greater persistence and success. You're just going to work harder. Third, when people focus on positive emotional states, the brain's reward system reinforces behaviors that align with those feelings. For example, aiming to feel more joy through movement activates dopamine pathways and makes the activity itself more rewarding and encourages repetition, rather than focusing on an arbitrary milestone like run 5 miles. Fourth, goals tied to feelings are easier to visualize and connect with on a daily basis. The neuroscience of emotional salience suggests that when we aim for peace, joy, or pride, our brain naturally aligns behaviors to produce those feelings. And lastly, studies done at Harvard link greater achievement and resilience to goals that bring joy and focus on meaningful, joyful activities than on goals that focus on perfection or external standards. Most importantly to me is I've seen this work firsthand, that when you approach your goal setting with a feelings-based approach, it works. Approaching my goals with feelings has changed me. A feelings-based approach to goal setting has helped me change myself, my thoughts, and my life. Crazy enough, this approach to goal setting is actually so much easier because it helps you tap into the emotion and desires you already have inside of you, instead of the whims and pressures of all the random people and society around you. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to go download the workbook so we can dig in and go do the work. Now, we're going to dig into things that you're thinking and feeling. So if you're feeling frantic or like you need to be centered before you jump into this process, there's a quick warm-up you're welcome to do. I'm going to suggest you take a 5-minute pause for this warm-up exercise. It's really simple. You just take out a couple pieces of paper and free write without judgment to what's coming to your mind. This is how you clear your mind and create space to create. You could write about last year. You could write about things you loved, things that were powerful to you. You could use the time to process through something through your writing. This is a great way to warm up and get in tune with your own subconscious. Feel free to pause this episode if you feel like you need a minute to be able to listen to yourself. If you feel ready to rock and roll or coming back from the pause, welcome back. And now is a great time to get out your worksheet. We're going to start right on page 1 with step 1. In this step, you're going to look forward to the year ahead and write down all the feelings you want to feel more of. Don't focus so much on emotions you don't want to feel. Just write down any feeling you want in abundance of your life. You also don't need to feel like you need to have a huge list here. Even a few feelings will do. If you feel stuck, you can refer to the last page in the workbook where I've listed 100 positive feelings that might open your mind, especially if you've been in a rut. Can I read a few of these feelings now and just show you how powerful, literally and energetically moving it is when you focus on the positive feelings you want more of in your life? Here are some of the feelings that I wrote down. Joyful, cheerful, compassionate, focused, aligned, curious, content, unburdened, whole, present, mindful. Okay, so get to writing without judgment, without limiting yourself, without putting pressure on yourself that you have to get a certain amount. Feel free to hit pause while you write down the feelings you want to have in your life this next year. When you feel like you're at a good point and have a good list that represents what you have, we'll move on to the next step, step 2. In this step, you're going to move right into action. That's what I love about this way of goal setting. There's a purpose behind it, but you get right to setting the goals. Step 2 is to choose one feeling that excites you. Now, you can have multiple feelings that you go after. You're going to repeat this step 2 for every feeling you choose. In step 2, you're going to brainstorm some options of what you could do to feel that feeling more in your life. I've separated these actions into one-time actions and repeated actions. Thinking about one-time actions is one of my favorite hacks in this approach to New Year's resolution. It gives you so much more flexibility as you think about what can really bring that feeling more into your life. So last year, I did this. I started New Year's and I wrote down some things I wanted to feel more in my life. And one of the things I wrote down was I want to feel more connected with my friends. Past Lizzy would have written down, maybe every week I'm going to go to lunch, or maybe every evening I'm going to write a text to a friend. But knowing that I had this feeling that I wanted to feel, I realized there were some one-time things I could do that would be just as powerful or even more so in my life. So this year I turned 40 and I started thinking about how could I feel more connected, not with just the current friends in my life, but some of the friends from the past. And I had this idea come to me that I wrote down, and that is to throw myself a big retreat for my 40th birthday and invite all these women I love that have impacted my life, that have changed me for the better, that have given me some insight or just helped me feel loved to the event. With the help of my amazing sister-in-law, Sarah, we put together this event. And it is probably one of the core memories that I won't forget for the rest of my life. Now, having that one event to look forward to did a few things. It gave me a lot of anticipation. It was a lot of fun. It was exciting to think about. It gave me something to plan. There's also other benefits of one-time events, like it's an easy checklist from your New Year's resolutions. When you do a one-time thing, it's done. If everything you're trying to do has to become a habit, you can be saturated really quickly. It's a tricky way to set a resolution if you're keeping all the habits from the past. So explore some of this. I actually wrote down some examples, and this is also in the packet, of one-time actions that you could take, because these may not be intuitive. You've probably heard of lots of habit hacks and lots of things you can do to create a habit. Here's some ideas for one-time actions. Could be as simple as I want to feel more peace and content. Maybe I'll go declutter one room, drawer, or space, or write a heartfelt thank you letter and mail it. Done, check, and you automatically feel something different in your life. It could also plan a no phones dinner with your loved ones, donate items that you no longer use, take a solo walk or drive somewhere new, choose to buy yourself fresh flowers one time, or organize all your digital photos into an album. One of my one-time items on my list for 2025 is to organize my office. Once it's done, but I know I'm going to feel so much more peace and purpose once I get it done. Sometimes one-time big action can feel more exciting and give you a bigger burst of momentum than sustained daily grinding action. Okay, so you're going to again repeat step 2 for each feeling you want to feel more of. As you're brainstorming one-time and repeated actions you could make to feel this feeling more in your life, here are 2 tips. Don't limit yourself here. Don't worry if your ideas are good ideas. Write out anything that comes to mind, no matter how silly, unreasonable, or impossible. This is the time to expand your ideas, and a bad idea often leads to a good idea. Tip 2. In all my research on goal setting, I learned that you're twice as likely to achieve a goal to do something rather than to stop do something. The takeaway here is it's typically a waste of time writing down something you aren't going to do anymore. It's so much easier to add something to your life than try to cut something out, especially if what you're trying to cut out is addictive. As an example, it's much easier to start adding more fruits and vegetables to your diet or to drink more water than to cut out all the processed foods and sugar. Every once in a while, it can make sense, but I want you to spend the bulk of your time writing down things you will do in this section. Now you're going to repeat this step for each feeling you want to explore. This can be as many or few feelings as you want. You are the CEO of your life. Take time for any feelings you feel are fruitful. You are worth the time spent and the payoff that can come from this exercise. Again, feel free to pause this episode until you've done a good brainstorm and feel like you have some good material to work with. And now we're on to step 3, which is our last step. In this step and on page 3, you're going to pick a few feelings and a few actions to set a quarterly goal. Now, don't get bothered with me that we're not setting a New Year's resolution here. I promise this wasn't a bait and switch. I'm purposely moving you away from a 12-month goal because 12-month goals don't work. There's so much research and so many reasons why we're going to move to quarterly goals, including that it maintains focus and urgency, it helps you avoid procrastination, it better aligns with business and seasonal cycles, it increases your momentum and accountability, and it also allows you to be more flexible and get more frequent feedback and make adjustments. Trust me and just tackle 3 months. I actually do personal quarterly retreats, and I go through this process every 3 months. At some point, I'd love to share a little more about what those quarterly retreats look like and might do that in the future, but they're the most fun that I have. I plan a day just for myself. Sometimes I even go when the kids are already at school and come back before they're done, but spending those hours and investing in yourself is so worth it. So let's get into step 3, which is laid out for you right in the workbook. This is the fun part. In this section, you're going to go look through the feelings you picked actions for. And I want you to pick 3 feelings with 1 to 3 actions per feeling. Now, for the overachievers out there, trust me, when I say that if you accomplish 3 to 9 big rocks in the next 3 months, your life will change. One big tip here is as you're picking the actions from step 2, focus on things that have a lot of energy around them, whether they're positive or negative energy. Things that have big energy have greater power to move you than things that have small energy. Just like a light bulb, if you want to light yourself up, pick something with bigger energy to flow into you. Now that you've set 3 feelings-based goals with 1 to 3 actions for each, I'm going to add a little tip here for follow-through. If you want to increase your chances that you'll follow through on these actions, here are some additional steps you can take. Each of these ideas is backed with tons of research and will make it way more likely that you'll have a better life in 3 months. First, share your feelings-based resolutions with a friend. You'll be twice as likely, again, if you just share what you've written with someone else. If you're daring enough, ask this friend to follow up with you. You'll then be 80% more likely to follow through on your goals. Also, you can put these resolutions somewhere where you can see them, maybe on your bathroom mirror or somewhere you can see them in your car when you're driving. Another tip, break any actions down to smaller pieces that don't automatically feel intuitive. Another tip, make sure your actions are SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. You'll get nowhere if your actions sound like get healthier, save more money, or run faster. Instead, write an action that looks more like exercise 30 minutes 3 times a week, save $200 per month, or run a 5K by February 15th. Read your feelings and actions aloud. Also a huge tip that makes you more likely to achieve them. Okay, to end, I want to nerd out a little with anyone listening in on a few other ideas that I love to do at the end of the new year. Now, if you're not a New Year's nerd like me and feelings-based goal setting was enough for you, feel free to plug your ears and get to the outro. But for those of you who love this time of year like I do, I hope you'll love these ideas and would love to hear any other New Year's practices that you have. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at Lean In With Lizzy, and I'd love to hear your New Year's practices. Here are a few other things I love to do at the beginning of the year. I love doing a New Year's clean out. Sometimes this lasts the whole month of January. The focus of this is to take the time to close out the year. This can include cleaning out physical and digital spaces, which could include closets, clothes, pantries, fridges, even email inboxes, maybe even taking them down to 0, and your text messages. It can also be clearing out relationships and creating a list of people that add in positive ways to your life and making time for them this year. Number 2, I love to make a record of the previous year. There is nothing as cleansing to my soul than a good journal session. But I don't get too rigid about it. I don't feel like I have to get everything recorded from the year. But I do love to go through my pictures and write a bulleted list of things that happened that were major events and moments for me, including successes and challenges. Number 3, I love to end in gratitude. I sometimes take time and write a few thank you cards to the people who have really changed my year that year. It's also fun to do on my birthday, and sometimes I wait until my birthday in February and focus on that last year of my life and write gratitude cards about that. Number 4 is the Big A calendar. Those of you who know what I'm talking about. Jesse Itzler created a huge wall calendar, which you can buy, that I'll link to, that has a whole system to add the most important things first into your new year. If you really want to create your life and make sure you're making room for the most important things, I love this approach. Number 5, create with God. I love taking some time with God to talk about the year I've just finished, thanking Him for lessons and opportunities, and also sharing with Him my ideas for the year ahead. I found that if I listen and wait for the unexpected ideas that pop into my head during these conversations, it's usually God adding in things I haven't thought about. Thanks for joining me. I'm so fired up for the year you have ahead. 2025 is going to be incredible. I already know it. If no one's told you today, I want you to know that I believe in you. I believe you have a gift to give the world just as you are. You were created for joy, and you have everything you need within you to create a beautiful life that you love and will bless others. Go get that life this year. Don't settle for anything less. I hope you've already invited a friend to go through this episode with you. But if not, take a moment right now to send it to other friends who you know will need it and will love it. And as we close out this year, I want to say thank you for sharing this space with me. You are a gift to me, and this podcast has been one of the best parts of my 2024. And if you've lasted until the very end of this episode, I have a special teaser for you. In just a few days, I'm sharing a bonus episode to close out this year. This one is totally outside my comfort zone, and I'm going to be sharing with you a meditation I've written with the help of Jessica Harmon, my sister and certified meditation coach, that you can use to close out this year, a week, or the end of every day. I'm sending you love and light. Until next year, lean into your life and live your life with the confidence and courage you deserve.